Hi everyone and welcome to Computer Headquarters YouTube channel. We're a company that sells computers and computer hardware online at places like eBay, Amazon, Newegg, and our own website chqstore.com. The majority of the products that we sell are factory refurbished. Today we're going to be talking about our new build plans that are going into place right now and the individual components that we selected, and eventually we'll even go over the performance. Stay tuned for a lot more videos where we go over one component at a time. It's going to be a long process, and we'll explain a lot of the small details like why we chose a certain part, how much the parts cost, and hopefully give you kind of an idea of if we thought it was the right part to pick after we're done playing with it and putting it all together. Stay tuned. We're actually upgrading from a pretty beefy system, and it's a pretty awesome system, but we tend to upgrade probably every 6 months to a year, and it's probably been over a year since we did this upgrade, so we're a little bit due. We're a computer company, so yeah, we change things around quite a bit. So let's take a look at the system, and I'm going to actually take the webcam up here off of the monitor I have it mounted to and move it so that you can see the system, and I'll talk about the parts that are in there. So hopefully this doesn't get too wobbly. Okay, so I'm going to try to get a good angle here so you guys can see. Alright, so this is the system, and you know what? It's pretty hard to see with the glare. I'm going to go ahead and open up this panel. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. We've got the front tempered glass front panel off here so you can see a little bit better. And we'll talk about what's in this machine and why we're upgrading and some of the problems maybe that are going on. But so this is a i9-7900X base system. That's 10 cores, 20 threads. It's a pretty nice system, and it's done a good job. It's also on a really awesome motherboard. This is the Asus Rampage Apex. So pretty similar to the Rampage Extreme, only that it has more overclocking features and probably less aesthetic or cosmetic lights and things of that nature. So it's more for performance. Additionally, we went ahead and we had to actually break the VRM section that was up here that connected with the heat pipe to the plate over here. We had to actually break that off in order to install this EK water block, but the water block does a full water cooling of the VRM and the CPU. Pretty awesome setup. So you can see that this is actually a full custom water loop system. Some of the individual brands and parts I might not remember, but it does look like we're using EK fittings. This is actually all EK tubing. It's like soft black tubing. I thought it would be fun to do a build with black tubing because I've never done it before, and I've only had been doing hard tubing for a long time and kind of got bored, so decided to change it up. I believe these are Fantex braided cables. They're just extensions. Thought it was a good match for the build because we had green liquid and black tubes. But anyway, we've got a Asus Poseidon GTX 1080 Ti. Really awesome video card. It has both air-cooled fans on the heatsink and then also is water-cooled simultaneously. Pretty cool looking card. And we have 32 gigs of G.Skill Trident Z RGB memory. I think it's only 3,000 megahertz or 3,200 megahertz, so nothing crazy. We've got a 500 gig Samsung 960 EVO SSD, so also not something too crazy. We have a 360 millimeter. You know what? Sorry, I think I said that wrong. I think this is actually a 420 millimeter EK branded radiator, and we have 3 iGo branded fans. Those are super cheap fans, and you can see one is not spinning here. There's no LEDs. The fan's not spinning. I believe it died, and that would make sense because they're cheap and it's been a year. And you're probably wondering why aren't you using? You've got this crazy system. Why aren't you using NZXTs or Corsairs or something? But I've had some other problems with other brands, and these were just cheap and easy. They didn't have any controller and they were one color. I liked the one color, so it was for those reasons. And then let's see, what else do we have here? We have a Seasonic Prime 1200 watt platinum power supply. It's a pretty good power supply. And I'm not sure if I forgot anything. I probably did. Oh, thermal take. I believe that's like the P7 TG case. It's a pretty awesome case. It has full tempered glass everywhere, and it served its purpose pretty well for the year that I had it, or a year or so. So anyway, I'm going to put you guys back up where you were, and we'll continue talking about the next build. All right, so I've already recorded all this, but I'm doing it again because the audio from my headset here was not getting picked up correctly, so you just kept hearing me cutting in and out. So I'm going to do this all over again. So our whole build is going to be based around the Cougar Conquer case. It's kind of like an open air case and a little bit similar in some ways to the case that I'm upgrading from, that thermal take I just showed you. So let's take a quick look at some of these images. This is kind of a really cool, like unique, artsy fartsy looking case in my opinion. And if you've ever watched Jay's 2 Cents, he's got a pretty sweet build and one of these in the background a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you people like watching Shroud stream on Twitch, and he has a system built in this case as well. And there's also a guy named UFD Tech Deals, and he recently decided he wanted to replicate Shroud's build using this case. And I would assume I'm almost replicating some of Shroud's build with what I'm going to say, because it's just going to happen. I'm not trying to. It's just those are some of the best components you can get. Maybe we won't use the same video card. We might not be using the same brand of video card. We'll probably be using the same processor, etc. So this case does support 2 radiators, one on the top, one on the front. It supports up to a 360 millimeter radiator on top and a 240 millimeter on the front. That was a little bit of a disappointing feature to me, being that I really wish it would have supported radiators that were 140 millimeter fan based instead of a 120 millimeter fan base. That would have put us at, I want to say it's 420 millimeters in the front. Oh wait, I did that wrong. Sorry. 280 millimeter in the front, 420 on the top. So 3 fans, 3 times 140 on the top, 2 times 140 in the front. 140 millimeter fans make less noise while pushing more air. So, hey Cougar, if you're watching this, make like a Cougar Conquer XL that's slightly wider, that will accommodate just that extra inch or whatever that is needed for the bigger fans and bigger radiators. So let's take a look at some of these pictures. It's a very unique case. It has 2 pieces of tempered glass, one on each side. Kind of interesting that they actually put that much detail into the rear panel. Usually people kind of half-ass the rear panel area because no one will ever see it, is how they usually look at it. But I think this is the type of case where people would like to put it in the middle of a room where you can see it from all angles. And let's look at, here's the rear. So this is where you mount the power supply. It's kind of a strange way to do it, unorthodox compared to most cube type computer cases. Here's the top. You can see some fans from the top there, which I'll probably be replacing. And then we have another image. This is with a kind of an example showing some SSDs or hard drives, it looks like, with a motherboard installed and a bunch of interesting looking cables. Those are very strange. Anyway, and here's another here's another picture. I'm not quite sure what truss aesthetics means, but it has the ultimate crafted detail. Anyway, pretty cool case, and that was kind of the motivation around the whole theme of everything, was let's start with this case and see what we could do with it. It is quite expensive at $250, which is probably why there are only 26 reviews on Amazon here. It's kind of a big barrier to entry. If you're still struggling to, save up the money for just the CPU, motherboard, and video card, why would you spend that much money on a case? And we've got a little bit of an excuse because this is, kind of almost a piece of art for our office, and we have customers coming through buying computers from us. So this is kind of what they expect to see when they come to our location. Next up on the list is the i9-9900k. Probably a lot of people here don't need to know much about it, but the basics are it's an 8-core processor that does up to 16 threads. It turbos at 5.0 gigahertz, and usually I want to say that the target overclocks on these chips are, especially with water cooling, is you're trying to do 5.0 gigahertz on all cores at all times as your overclock, and that should be pretty obtainable, especially with all this water cooling we'll be doing here. So it's 2 less cores than the 7900X that we're upgrading from. And I do say upgrade because the single core performance is quite a bit better on these 9900Ks, which is great for gaming, while still having plenty of cores for multitasking and work. Because this is a computer that we actually do real work on, editing this video on, stuff like that. You know, everything you could think of doing on a regular work computer, and also video editing related stuff, as well as doing some gaming on lunch breaks, right? So this is the radiator setup we're going with the Thermaltake setup, just because they seem to have some really good really thick copper radiators that they're making right now, and some of the other brands aren't using copper core, they're using aluminum. So I thought that the price was pretty good and the performances seemed to be really good. So we were getting the 240 millimeter for the front, coming in at 40 millimeter thick, while the 360 millimeter for the top is a whopping 64 millimeter thick. Actually the thickest radiator I saw available on the market. And from my measurements, it does fit in that Cougar Conquer case, but if I'm wrong, we'll find out. Moving forward, we're going to be using the EK Waterblock brand Cryofuel orange color. It's going to be my first time using orange coolant. I've previously used red, green, blue, and clear. This is the Connect TV clip for the Xbox One. This is for my webcam that you're watching me on right now. I do like using the Connect as a webcam. I think it's the best webcam on the market, and I have a whole video going over how to set it up and the details of it, and comparing it to the really popular Logitech webcams that are out today. Go check out my other videos if you want to see that. Next up here is the Thermaltake Pacific digital LED panel. This clips on or attaches some way to the 360 millimeter radiator we talked about earlier, and just gives it a little bit more color. Normally I wouldn't spend 45 bucks on something stupid like this, but we're kind of going all out on this build, so I figured it was worth it. 6 sets of 4 packs, 6 4-packs I should say, of these 90-degree rigid tubing elbows, I guess you call them. So that's 24 total elbows, and I'm guessing, I don't know if we're going to need all 24 of those, but we'll probably be close because there's going to be so many different bends and things like that in the system. So this will be fun to do. Last time I've done, PETG rigid tubing, I did curves, curving it with heat and stuff like that, and this is going to be the first time I'm going to only do straight lines. Next up, we've got the EK Waterblock's Velocity CPU water block. This was they actually have a lot of options for the socket with the i9. So this is the one I decided to go with because it has a copper base and it has the clear plexiglass front, so you can see the color of your liquid, and which also tells you it's full and there's not a problem. There are some other units that they sell that have like RGB lights and stuff, but people complain that the RGB is almost non-existent, so I thought this was the right way to go with the copper base, and a pretty good price, cheaper than some of the others. And then we'll go back here. The last thing here is this Rode microphone that I ordered, because this microphone I'm using in my headset is not that great, and I want the audio quality to get better for these videos that we'll be making. So this will be here, today's Friday, so it'll be here over the weekend, and on Monday when we make our next video, we should have much better audio quality. Now, there's a few things we didn't mention. This is the motherboard we'll be using. This is the Asus ROG Maximus 11 Extreme. I said that incorrectly. I'm sorry, this is not the right motherboard. I take that back. Almost the same thing. Say everything exactly what I just said, but add formula or subtract Extreme. So it's just slightly different. This has the built-in EK Waterblocks brand VRM cooling. Pretty awesome, and very high-end board. This price is definitely not what we paid for it. We got, as I mentioned, we buy and sell factory refurbished parts, and Asus is one of our favorites. We had one of these boards just come in factory refurbished from Asus, and that will be what we'll be using. So We did save a lot of money going refurbished on this, and we're looking forward to using it. And this is going to give us a lot of overclocking headroom with that extra cooling on the VRM. The only complaints I've seen, so this only just is showing 3 out of 5 stars on the egg reviews here on Newegg. Apparently the RGBs are not very bright, is what people are complaining about mostly, and that wasn't really a big issue for me because I'm not like a huge RGB like aficionado. I don't even know how you would say that, but I'm not like all about RGBs. I'm going to be reusing the G-Skill memory I showed you earlier in my current build. I just didn't really see a reason to upgrade. I'll be reusing the Silverstone 1200 watt platinum power supply, same reason. And this is really cool. This is a weird brand I've never heard of called Bixby. They're out of China, I guess. I ordered this from AliExpress. This is what they call a waterway. So this is like a big, kind of like a water reservoir or coolant reservoir for a water cooling system, and it's kind of like a what am I trying to say here? It connects all of the different parts together into one spot. It's very unique and strange. Never seen one before. This is like the first time I'll ever be using one of these waterways. I'm assuming I can use it instead of using a reservoir. I think it just acts as its own reservoir, so I'll see if I need a reservoir in addition. But the pictures they show using it right here, there is no reservoir of any kind, so I believe I don't need one. So this should be pretty fun. I ordered it from China, as I mentioned, so we'll be taking probably a week or so. So this is gonna be a long build process. We're gonna be trying to make a video unboxing things and showing you guys step by step. So this will probably be one of the last steps. And we did get the built-in pump, like shown in this picture right here. Finally, I believe this is the last part of the whole build. This is the Zotac RTX 2080Ti Arctic Storm. This is a water-cooled card. It does not have any fans on it. It's water cooling only. I thought it was the best looking RTX 2080 card while being water cooled. I looked at every single brand, even the stuff overseas like Inno3D and Galax, and I felt like this was the best card that was water cooled on the market. I'm not like some huge Zotac fan. I think they make good stuff, just like a lot of other brands make good stuff, and I thought this was the best one. I have not ordered it yet. I figure this is going to be one of the last steps too, so I'll probably order it next week. And I'm in California and so are they, so it'll be like one day shipping or something. So I'm going to make a whole video talking about all the RTX 2080 Ti's on the market and why I think this one's the best. But I'll wait to make that video until it arrives so I can actually physically show it to you and talk about using it. So stay tuned for that video. Stay tuned for the next video in the list, which should be talking about that case, that Cougar Conquer case. It's here right next to me on my feet. So on Monday, today's Friday. On Monday, I'll probably be making the video unboxing that and giving some more thoughts on it. And every day, hopefully, another video, maybe two. So stay tuned. And if you like the video, do me a favor and subscribe. Click the notification bell and click the like button. Have a great day.